All right, you guys. Okay. Okay. All right. So we are back. We're going to be covering a couple of articles, you guys. Here we go. So this article is breaking. Abhimanyu Mishra becomes youngest grandmaster in chess history. Okay. I am Abhimanyu Mishra became the youngest chess grandmaster in history today. The 12-year-old player from New Jersey scored his third GM norm in Budapest, having already crossed the required 2,500 ELO barrier. Mishra, often called Abi, broke GM Sergei Karyakin's record that has stood for 19 years. On August 12, 2002, Karyakin, a world championship challenger in 2016, secured the Grandmaster title at the age of 12 years and 7 months. Mishra, born on February 5, 2009, took 12 years, 4 months, and 25 days to obtain the highest title in chess. All right, so here's a picture of Sergey. All right. Karyakin told chess.com, somehow I am quite philosophic about this because I felt like it has been almost 20 years and it is really too much. It had to be broken. Sooner or later, I was sure that it would happen. I was completely sure that one of the Indian guys would do it much earlier. Somehow I was very lucky that it didn't happen. Yes, I am a little sad that I lost the record. I don't want to lie, but at the same time, I can only congratulate him, and it's no problem. I hope that he will go on to become one of the top chess players, and it will be just a nice start to his big career. I wish him all the best. Okay. Mishra spent several months in Budapest, Hungary, playing back-to-back tournaments, chasing the title and the record. He scored both his first and second GM norms there at the April Vezir Kepzo tournament and the May 2021 First Saturday tournament, both round robins of 10 players specially set up for securing norms. He couldn't immediately follow up in his next 3 tournaments in the Hungarian capital, which basically started every 2 weeks. The May and June Vezir Kepzo and then the June First Saturday round robin held in the same playing hall. However, in his final attempt this month, he succeeded. As several chess players stayed in Budapest for this long period, the organizers created one last event. This time, a Swiss group called the Vezir Kepzo GM Mix. Having been invited to the FIDE World Cup in Sochi, Mishra knew this was going to be his last chance before leaving Hungary. There's a picture of Mishra with several other talented junior players from the United States, and of course, Gary Chess is in this picture too, the beloved founder of the great game of chess. Okay. He was well on his way to his third GM norm after starting with 5 out of 6, but then Mishra lost in round 7 to Slovak GM Milan Pacher. Or I know I'm mispronouncing that. He then bounced back with a win against the Hungarian FM Benz Lesko. Today, Mishra won the biggest game of his short but sweet career so far. He defeated the 15-year-old Indian GM Leon Luke Mendonca with the black pieces, securing a performance rating higher than 2,600 over 9 rounds, which constitutes the GM norm. That name really does not look like like an Indian name. Leon Luke Mendonca. That looks like a Spanish name. Anyway, though, he won his final game today, and with it, he becomes the youngest grandmaster. I'll just take a look at the game very briefly. So what do we have? We have this game. What is this? So it was this Grunfeld that Mishra played with Bishop E6 and Knight C6. Now, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of people like to play the Grunfeld these days. I know like A Wonder Liang, a junior player, played it. I see Mishra's playing it. I think Ray Robson also played it. So it's definitely kind of interesting to see how all the junior players are trying it. I myself actually was playing it quite a bit when I was about the same rating, like 2450 to 2500 too. So very interesting at any rate. Also, you guys in chat, you're saying that Mendonca is from Goa. Yeah, Goa was a Portuguese colony, so that makes a lot of sense in terms of why he has a name that is that definitely doesn't sound like a traditional Indian name. Okay, so let's keep going with the game. Okay, all pretty normal. Takes. Okay, so Mishra won this, which is kind of interesting because I would say objectively this is probably about equal. But he goes 98 trades, and then he wins this end game. Now the question is, how did he win this? Was this due to his opponent? Yeah, his opponent starts overpressing and plays like b5. I would say like already in this position, it's probably about equal, but playing knight b5 is not the best move. That being said, it's still probably okay, but I'm starting to not love the position for white. Yeah, trades. Right, okay. That being said, this still does look very drawish. This still looks completely fine. Wait, what happened? Mishra won this? Oh, he blundered knight f3. Oh, he blundered knight f3. That's a tragedy, because if white goes b4, I think white's just winning, isn't he? I think b4 is just winning here. Oh, very lucky because after b4, I mean, White's just winning. Maybe it's a draw with correct play, but it looks really, really bad. That's really unfortunate. Oh, that's a very nasty trap. Oh, that's brutal. So takes here, g5. You can go bishop e1, but actually bishop e1, there's h4. Like if you go bishop e1, h4, and then king e2, and it's still winning. Ouch. Yeah, and then you lose by the skewer. b8 queen, queen f4 checkmate. So pretty lucky to win the game, but that doesn't really take away from his accomplishment, becoming the youngest grandmaster in history. Very well deserved, I think. I don't really know much about Mishra overall, but I have seen him play in some of the tournaments recently. Thank you to Bortnik, by the way. Thank you to Alexander Bortnik for the raid. Apparently, I got a raid from him, so thank you so much. Thank you, Good Night Chess TV, for the 14. So very, very nice win. He ends up winning the Swiss tournament, as you guys can see in the as you see here. You see Mishra 7 points, second place Suharto Basak, no title, so I assume he at least got an IM norm, if not a GM norm as well. So very very nice finish from Mishra. So let's keep reading. One of the first instances of Mishra's name appearing on the internet was when he won the under 8 section of the 2016 Chess Kid Online National Invitational Championship, Konik. In November 2019, Chess.com reported on Mishra becoming international master at the age of 10 years, 9 months, and 3 days. That was a record as well, but today's record is the one that truly resonates. Mishra's coach, GM Arun Prasad, had this to say to Chess.com. My congratulations to Abhi for this great achievement. He fully deserves the success, as I have seen all of his hard work firsthand. His father also deserves applause for all the sacrifice he has made for Abhi to reach this milestone. Personally, this is a big moment to see my student become a GM. Another prodigy came close to beating Karyakin's record, but came up short. GM Gukesh D from India got the title aged 12 years, 7 months, and 17 days, which was 17 days later than Karyakin. Only 5 players in history managed to get the title before their 13th birthday. Below is the full top 10 of the youngest ever grandmasters. You can learn more about the biggest chess prodigies in this article. All right, so they have this video. Let me watch it. Stop some music for a second and let's watch this. Okay, let me watch this on YouTube. Okay, so this is the very earliest list, I guess, of grandmasters. Again, this isn't a record, but let's just go through it. When does it start getting young, I wonder? Starting to get younger. Spassky at 18. Fischer at 15, right. Now, by the way, to give you guys an example... Wait, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Where was I? To give you an example of how amazing it is, when you see Fischer here... Let me go back. It was 1954, right? It was, where was it? It's right... yeah, okay, right here, right? Where was it? Where's Bobby? Yeah, so when you look at this, it was 1958. You see Bobby Fischer became a grandmaster at 15 years old in 1958. That says a lot, considering that nowadays, I mean, 15 might be on the old side for becoming a grandmaster, but this was like, I mean, 70 years ago almost, wasn't it? Yeah, this was like, yeah, this is insane. Or wait, not 70 years ago. It's 2021. Sorry. So yeah, my math is bad. 60 years ago almost. But it's pretty nuts. Think about that. Almost 60 years ago that the Fischer got to GM at 15. And 15 is still a gold standard, you guys. So pretty amazing that Fischer did this in 58. Fischer probably was the youngest for a long time, I'm guessing. Let's see. Okay, still 65. Still was here. Anatoly Karpov at 19, right? Gary Kasparov at 17, okay. Look at this. Look at how long Fischer kept number 1. I think, yeah, Judith broke his record. That's correct. Gadakamsky 16. Yeah, so when you look at this, guys, look at this. It was 1992, so from 1958 until 1992, Bobby Fischer held the record. That's like insane when you think about how long he held the record for youngest grandmaster. Just insane. I don't think I make this list actually. No, I'm pretty sure I don't make this list because I became a GM at 15. Now I broke Bobby Fischer's record. At the time, he still held the record for the youngest American Grandmaster. So I broke Fischer's record at the time. But as you see already, there were a lot of players becoming Grandmasters at a very young age. One thing though that I would caution is as you look through these lists, you'll notice that there are quite a few of these players who did not go on to become World Championship contenders. For example, if I go back a couple of seconds, you see on this list, for example, you have Volokhin, who got to be 2650. You had Farhad Tartirov. I don't know what his rating became. You have Pentala Hari Krishna, 27, but not all these players would go on to become World Championship contenders. So that is the one thing I would say is that it's very important to keep that in mind when you run through this. Here comes Wesley at 14. Nice. Yeah, so here's the final list. You see the youngest grandmaster in history of Abhimanyu Mishra at 12 years, 4 months, 25 days. Sergei Karyakin, 12 years, 7 months. Gukesh, I think it's at 12 years, 7 months, and 17 days. You have Sindarov, you have Pragnananta, Noterbeck, Parmari-John, Magnus, Wei Yi, and Raunak Sadhwani. Again, all very talented players. Most of these players are very young currently, so we don't really know where they're going. But I would say like Wei Yi is certainly one of those tales of someone who was definitely built up like he was going to be the next contender for Magnus, and he really stalled out in the 2700 range. So mainly what I would say is obviously big congrats to Abhimanyu Mishra for becoming the youngest grandmaster. What I would say though is it's very important that people, you know, in terms of his progression, it's very important that people do not like sort of overstate it and be like he's going to be the next world champion or put this unnecessary pressure on him, because in many of these cases it does not pan out. So it's more important that basically he just focuses on the game and there isn't this insane amount of pressure that's put on him. So that's what I would say. There's also I also have a tweet as well to pull up, so give me 1 second. I have a tweet from Jan Nepomniachtchi. Let's pull this up as well. What is this? 1 second. What is this? We have this tweet. Let me change this. What is this? Okay. I'm dazzled with the new record. So I'd like to suggest some changes to the order of conferring titles. For example, one of the norms must be fulfilled in an open tournament, and the participation of 2,400 GM luminaries in stamping new titles should be finally limited. So he meant should finally be limited. Yeah, I mean, I think what I would say about this is like it is true that when you look at norm terms, there definitely are players who are not active, strong grandmasters. Like there are many who might be anywhere between 2,400 and 2,450. That being said, it feels a little bit disrespectful to Abhimanyu. I mean, he's just playing the tournament and trying to get the norms. So I mean, I can live with it. I'm not crazy about it either way. I think this could have been worded better, but I still understand his point to some degree as well. See the comments. What do we have? What are the comments? No offense, sir, but it seems petty to not say congratulations, but suggest the title was won too easily or should not have been awarded. Russia will lose your chess power, so try to beat us on the board, not crying about our achievements. What? Excuse me? What is that all about? Anyway, sometimes matches are arranged like the youngest national master in San Francisco or in California. I don't know. Again, I don't want to get into it, but I would say that I guess what I would say is that I understand his point, but it feels like it's not the right medium to do that in at the present time. That's all I would say. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. But as I said again, congrats to Abhimanyu. He just played the tournaments and he achieved the results. So you know, if you want to be mad at somebody, like I mean, you can be annoyed with FIDE or something for allowing these tournaments, but it doesn't seem like the right moment. It really just doesn't seem like the moment to do that. Why don't I follow Jan? Well, Jan doesn't follow me, so I don't see what the point is. And also Jan unfollowed me, I think, after he made those comments about PogChamps. So that's all I need to say. Okay, we have one more article to cover. So what is this article? We have one more article. Venezuelan chess player gets the FM title at 88 years old. That is impressive. Okay. This is also an article by Peter Doggers. An 88-year-old chess player from Venezuela recently received a very nice surprise, his FIDE Master title. He was informed that FIDE had acknowledged a title application based on results he scored in the 1960s. Sheesh, is there anybody in chat who was even alive in the 1960s here? Wow. It's a record that won't be easy to beat. Getting an official FIDE title when you're 88. That's what happened to three-time Venezuelan champion Salvador Diaz Carrillas from Caracas, now living in San Cristobal. He received the FM title shortly before turning 88 last weekend. Okay. All right, you guys. Okay. Okay. Sorpresa, do we watch the video? Yeah, let's watch the video.
Hola, amigos. Pensaron que era mi papá, ¿verdad?
He's talking about his father becoming a FIDE master.
Soy el hijo menor del maestro Salvador Díaz, a quien ustedes ya conocen y le tienen tanto cariño. Hoy me tomé el atrevimiento de grabar este video en el canal de él porque queremos darle una
He doesn't look 88, yeah.
Que ustedes sean partícipes de ella.
He looks young for 80.
Muchos de ustedes.
But is he in the video? Is the question. Is he in here? Or is this just his First of all, I mean, I have to say this is pretty amazing. It must be grandson, yeah, but this is pretty amazing, isn't it? 88 years old, and he's got this computer screen. Like, I don't care that it's like 15 inches or whatever, even smaller than that. It's still pretty amazing. Also in Venezuela, where basically everything costs like millions of dollars. Yeah, he plays and studies on the internet. 88 and playing Hyperbullet.
Actualmente el ajedrez ha sido el mejor aliado para sobrellevar esta época de pandemia. Hace unos meses, la maestra nacional Luisana Mujica, quien es mi prima, junto a nuestro gran amigo Nicola,
he'll become a pro streamer, yeah. Yeah, of course I understand. I speak Italian, so I mean I don't speak Spanish, but I understand pretty much everything.
1971. Por acá arriba les dejaré la foto del informador. ¿Qué es un informador de ajedrez? Es una enciclopedia, como una enciclopedia.
Yeah, he's talking about, I think he's saying there's some games that were in these old chess books in the Chess Informants. I wasn't listening super closely there, but he's saying that there were some of his games, and I think they found the games and they probably found the tournaments from these old informant books, and that's how they were able to go back and verify the results.
Se recopilan partidas de los jugadores del momento.
Yeah, talking about the games in that moment.
De un listado con el puntaje.
Yeah, you see it there. Diaz from Venezuela.
De acuerdo a su performance en las diferentes competencias internacionales.
Different international competitions, of course.
En el ajedrez, como en otros deportes, la Federación Internacional de ese deporte le otorga a sus atletas un puntaje. Esto para determinar quién podría ser el mejor jugador del mundo, quiénes son los mejores, los más destacados en la disciplina. Entonces, para 1971, mi padre tenía un puntaje.
No, actually, he said father. He said that's his father. He said his father. He said padre, if I heard that correctly. So he said that's his father, not grandfather.
1300 puntos. ¿Qué quiere decir esto? Al día de hoy, ese puntaje, el que no tenga ese puntaje, es merecedor de un título de la Federación Internacional de Ajedrez que se llama Maestro FIDE. Actualmente mi padre posee el título de Maestro Nacional, que es el que le otorga la federación del país por haber sido campeón de Venezuela. Hace pocos años la Federación Internacional de Ajedrez emitió un comunicado donde decía que toda persona o jugador que haya llegado a 2300 puntos de Elo FIDE o que llegue a 2300 puntos de Elo FIDE en la actualidad es merecedor del título de Maestro FIDE. Mi padre en su momento, en 1971, llegó, pero esa norma todavía no estaba, de que apenas llegara ya era merecedor de ese título. Entonces, ¿qué pasó? Cuando mi prima junto al amigo Nicola observaron ese comunicado, decidieron enviarle un correo a la Federación Internacional de Ajedrez preguntando si mi padre, que en 1971
he can play in Title II, yeah, he can.
Podría optar.
He's talking about the conversations with FIDE to get it verified.
Recibimos respuesta, que eso fue hace unos días, recibimos respuesta donde nos indicaban que efectivamente sí, si nosotros queríamos, podríamos hacer la solicitud del título de mi padre. Cuando recibimos la respuesta...
Wait, what was that? Wait, let me go back. Wait, I didn't read that closely. What's it say? I am trying to discover whether anything happened with this. I regret to say that regarding your own title, I cannot find any official document which shows the required rating. Oh, so basically, yeah, like I wasn't listening super closely. What it means is that basically in the Informant, the old chess books, that's where the rating was, the 2300 rating. So they probably didn't have records, but it was in those books, and that's how they were able to verify it. Basically, that's crazy. That's insane. Just insane.
La respuesta, yo escribí un correo diciéndoles que yo era su hijo, del maestro Salvador
That's
Díaz,
insane.
y que quería confirmar si nosotros podríamos hacer el trámite del título de mi papá. Efectivamente, me dieron respuesta y me dijeron que sí. Que
Yeah, they said yes. Yeah.
Y gestionar todo el trámite.
They said effective immediately. It's that he has that he will get the title.
Un poco de dinero para hacer todos los movimientos y que envíen el título para acá, para Venezuela.
It looks like Anish. Good one.
Todo ajedrecista anhela este título de nivel internacional y sabe lo difícil y lo importante que es conseguirlo. Para nosotros como familia es algo muy importante, es algo que nos llena de mucho orgullo y de mucha emoción.
Yeah, it was very important. They're very proud. They're very proud that he got the title.
88 años y darle este título a esta edad, creo que para la misma Federación Internacional de Ajedrez sería, no sé si sería un récord, porque que a los 88 años reciba un título de maestro FIDE de ajedrez no es algo que suceda todos los días. Y de verdad que nos tiene muy emocionados esta noticia. Debo decirles que él de momento no sabe nada de lo que está pasando, no le hemos comentado nada porque queremos que esto sea
nice.
Total sorpresa y queremos tener un registro.
Nice. They're saying that the whole thing is just like it's incredible, it's amazing, it's a huge surprise. Just like no idea.
FIDE. Federación Internacional de Ajedrez, la FIDE tiene el placer de confirmar en este
wow.
Díaz Carías Salvador. Número de FIDE 390-1378, ese es el número de la FIDE mío Venezuela. Ha obtenido el título de maestro FIDE en el año 2021.
I mean, can you read it in English? Yeah, I think you probably can understand. 1933. Nice. Very nice. That's a very good video. Very, very wholesome for sure. Really, really good. All right, so let's finish up the article. Give me 1 second. Okay. So what do they say? They say Diaz was born on June 23rd, 1933. He started playing chess relatively late at age 20 in 1953. It was thanks to his good friend Luis Alberto Matos, who by then was already a strong tournament player and above all very knowledgeable about openings, that he managed to play his first tournament, which was at the University of Los Andes in the city of Merida, which would be Mexico. The first big surprise for Diaz came when in that same tournament in one of the games as white, he defeated the reigning Venezuelan champion Andres Sade with an opening variation that Matos had taught him. This unexpected event had two consequences, a good one and a bad one, Diaz wrote Chess.com. The bad news was that I stopped studying the first year of engineering because I was completely absorbed by playing chess until the sun of today. Very nice. Wow. From 1953 to 1960, he dedicated himself to studying openings and endgames and studying Grandmaster games. In those 7 years, he became one of the best players in the country to the point that he conquered the national championship in 1960 in the city of Maracaibo. He retained his title a year later in a match with Celso Sanchez Puso, an IM and correspondence chess who had won almost all the tournaments that were played in Caracas. Much later in 1978, Diaz would win his third and last national title in San Cristobal. After a second title in 1961, Diaz had to quit tournament chess because he started working, first as a mathematics teacher until 1965, and then as a computer programmer for IBM. Not bad. But he never abandoned the game completely. For example, in 1964, he played for Venezuela in the first Caribbean series in San Juan, Puerto Rico. In this four-player team event, he won all of his games to help the Venezuelan national team to remain champions. Okay. 1966 Havana Olympiad. Diaz participated in the famous 1966 Havana Olympiad, where he scored 11.5 points over 20 games, the best performance among the 5 players who represented the Venezuelan team. He shared the following anecdote. During the Olympiad, we were staying at the Habana Libre Hotel, formerly the Habana Hilton. Me and two members of the Puerto Rico team, whom I had met at the Caribbean Series, went up to the top floor of the hotel to have a few drinks. When we entered, we saw GM Bobby Fischer, who was having a few drinks practically alone. We greeted each other because I already knew him personally since 1962 when he passed through Caracas, accompanied by GM Miguel Najdorf, who was temporarily residing in Caracas, and they were coming back from their participation in the Mar del Plata tournament. Amazing story. Amazing story. By the way, Bobby and I played an informal game. Black got into a worse position in the Sicilian defense in a variation that I learned in a Soviet magazine, but he equalized the position, and of course he won the game. I want to say that Bobby at that time was a totally normal person, friendly in his dealings, cheerful, in short, very different from the Bobby Fischer that all chess players began to question because of his behavior after winning the world championship. Wow. Amazing. Just amazing. Diaz also played in the 1968 Lugano Olympiad, where he scored his best international performance, 10.5 out of 15, with which he reached a 2300 ELO rating. He would play one more Olympiad in 1978 in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Diaz still plays. As recently as in 2020, he won a local tournament at the San Cristobal Fair. Wow. Nuts. Okay, FIDE title. About a year ago, Diaz's good friend Nicola Nigro, a great promoter of Venezuelan chess, and Luis Sana Mujica, I think it is, a former Venezuelan women's champion, began to scrutinize the data of Venezuelan players. They obtained a chess informant from 1971 that showed the 2300 ELO. Immediately, they began to make the arrangements for the validation of his title, knowing that the single requirement was enough for the title. I would also add, you guys, most people don't realize, but the requirements for getting titles, these were the regulations, and the reason I'm very familiar with this is because my stepfather also got the title under similar conditions. So let's keep going. Okay, this is a picture of the informant. Let's keep going. Okay, FIDE a year later confirmed that they were going to grant the title on the condition that the standard administration cost of 70 euros would be paid. What? I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. they would grant the title if they paid 70 euros administration costs. Ridiculous. Okay. When Nigro realized that the Diaz family could not afford the sum, I mean, obviously they couldn't afford the sum. Like, I mean, Venezuela, I mean, not being political, but as we know in Venezuela, there definitely are issues, and it's not a rich country, but you know, they couldn't afford it. When Nigro realized the Diaz family could not afford the sum, the incredible inflation that the country has seen in the past years means that this amount now equals 266,000 Venezuelan bolivares. He decided to take care of that payment himself. Diaz himself had no idea about all of this. He wrote, "You gentlemen of chess.com, can you imagine what my joy was when I learned last week that at 88 years old, I had been given this international title? I want to share this joy, first of all, with Nico and with you, and of course with all the fans who love this beautiful game, which is getting even bigger with the effects of this pandemic that we are experiencing." Okay. Together with sending a wonderful letter full of information about his chess life, Diaz also wrote to chess.com. "I want to express the great satisfaction that overwhelms me, having the knowledge that a site as prestigious as yours in the field of chess has shown great interest in telling me about my experiences in that discipline. The great satisfaction in telling the story is mutual." Wow. By the way, I think almost nobody has any idea. This picture, like, I'm fortunate that, like, I grew up, like, I started learning chess and playing when these sorts of machines were around. But this is what chess machines used to look like in, like, the late 90s. I mean, early to mid 90s into the late 90s. This is how you learn chess. You would buy basically a chess program, something like what's in this picture, and you would play against it. So that's like that's how you learn the game. So, all right. Diaz still enthralled by chess in his 80s. Amazing. Just amazing. What a great article. What can I say? Just incredible.